Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Hope you had a great Monday, great start to your work week. As we're getting going here, there's been some new things popping up on some of the model guidance. We're going to go over that and talk about the latest updated information as there was some changes overnight. Not really regarding any significant cold air mass, but there is some hints that there will potentially be a storm system, um, a bigger storm system compared to a couple other small storm systems early next week, around this time next week. Now, I will tell you, there's a lot of energy flying around out there, especially in the northern stream. Multiple clippers, multiple kind of smaller pieces of energy that will continue to fire off those lake effect snow bands and bring some light snow into northern portions of the Ohio Valley, into the interior areas of the Northeast, and even throw some flakes for some of the big cities and maybe New York City, maybe Boston, but nothing significant whatsoever for those areas. But we are watching a system for around this time next week, and we'll continue to see how it does in the models, and we'll talk a little bit more in depth in it and the coming days if it continues to materialize and become a little bit more consistent in the models. But for now, we're going to talk about kind of what we know, and this could be the potential for a big time system for mainly the Northeast, maybe portions of the Mid-Atlantic. I can tell you a lot of areas in the Southeast are very dry. They have issued a burn ban. Basically meaning you can't burn any outside things in North Carolina, and I think it was basically triggered off the Pilot Mountain situation, where it's basically a wildfire right now. And I posted something on Twitter earlier today. I know here in my location in Central South Carolina, we've barely picked up. We picked up a little over a quarter inch of rain for the entire month of November, and November's basically over, guys. We don't have any big time rain systems moving through here in the next 36 hours, so it's pretty much over. A very dry fall compared to the last few falls. So it's very dry out there. Don't burn anything, especially in the Southeast. These systems keep tracking north. That means the lesser amounts of precipitation are farther south. So we'll continue to remain dry, and I don't really see, honestly, any type of big time rainmakers for us in the South anytime soon. But there's the potential for some big time systems to the north of the South, so the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. So that's what we're going to talk about. If you guys have not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Like the video if you like it. I appreciate the amazing support. Promise you guys it's going to get a lot more exciting around here in the coming weeks, and I look forward to chasing some events. So thank you all for the amazing support. Also, if you want to follow me a little bit more consistently, my Twitter link's right there. I do have a Facebook link, but on my Facebook, I mainly talk about local weather here in South Carolina. But on Twitter, if you want to know what's going on in my more personal life, and you want to know more about my interests, hit the Twitter link, give me a follow on there. I talk weather and I talk a lot of football. So let's get going here. What we're going to do is we're going to do what we've been doing the last week. We're going to break down the GFS, the European, take a look at some ensembles, and then the ingredients that could potentially come together for a storm system next week. Now, we also are going to break down the fact that we're entering a pretty unfavorable conditions in general for the eastern U.S. For any significant winter weather through possibly all the way to mid-December. I will mention that early on. That could change, but as of right now, that's what I'm seeing. So let's run through the GFS. So this is right around right now. Another clipper moves through, so bring some more light snow to basically the same areas that have been seeing it. That'll dissipate, fire off some lake effect snow bands. Here comes another system as we're getting into late Wednesday, flying across northern Michigan. This will be a little bit more warmer, as a lot more warm air will be riding north. And then there's a little bit more robust system that's even further north, because the jet stream, basically the northern stream, is shifting a little bit more north. So these storm systems are riding a little bit more north. And that's honestly the big reason why we're not getting any moisture in the Southeast, because you're not necessarily under a southeast ridge, but you're kind of below the jet stream, meaning unless you get any kind of systems that fire off the southern stream, it's going to remain dry. And you have this kind of west-northwest flow coming here, and it's basically riding a pretty broad ridge out to the west. So all these systems are kind of flowing southeast in general through down this flow, and it's not connecting with anything in the southern stream because it's too far north. So that's what you're going to continue to have. And then we get into the weekend, maybe some moisture gets fired up down here, tries to interact with this. This is maybe a more robust system. And then here you go, the latest GFS has a pretty significant storm system with rain all the way to the Gulf Coast. And this is a much warmer run for the interior Northeast than the European run. And this has trended a little bit more north, more into a cutter all day, and that's all influenced off high pressure to the north. How much cold air is in place. If the high pressures dip more to the south, that'll push the low pressure more south and maybe create an issue where there's more rain. I don't see this coming true. There's no way this thing keeps trending all the way into Canada, but it has trended that way all day today. But I think this is going to trend us back south a little bit more. But we'll watch. But that's the big system we're really watching there. And then I think it's going to remain active and continue to be active into next week. Honestly, really depending on where you are, it's going to remain active as far as small-scale systems all through the week, especially in the northern areas, really only in the northern areas. But here you go, European painting kind of the same picture. Pieces of energy keep flowing through here if you're watching this area. And we get into the weekend. The weekend, the European features a smaller system ahead of a bigger system. A Clipper energy, piece of energy here tries to develop some low pressure off the coast, bringing a little bit of snow potentially Saturday evening for areas of southern New England. That's still up in the air. Meanwhile, you got some moisture here in the south and the western areas of the southeast. And this moves on through, and then the bigger piece of energy moves through. The European does not phase with anything in the southern branch. That's why you have a pretty relatively weak system developing off the northeast. But even this weaker system, if the European was to happen early next week, brings some moderate to pretty decent snowfalls for areas of eastern Massachusetts and coastal areas of Maine, Vermont, and New Hampshire, places like that. But we'll continue to watch this. This is the system to watch. Now, seems like that's all we do is watch systems, and then the next thing you know, we're watching them disappear. But that's kind of what you do this time of year. You try to find the next system to talk about and not try to overhype it, but talk about the potential. So this is the EPS ensembles as far as snowfall. This takes us all the way out through 10 days. Notice there's pretty decent support in the northeast for snow in general, even as far south as New York City right here in Boston. I don't really have a great up and close picture of this. See if we can get a little bit closer here for you guys in the northeast. But we'll take it out here. This is 10 days out. Notice in Boston, who really have not seen any significant snow this year, or New York City has not either. This is a decent signal for 1 to 2, maybe 3, 4 inches of snow here in the next 10 days or so. But further south, there's not really a good signal at all, even in the mid-Atlantic. You look at the GEFS ensembles, it's very similar. Even with the warmer run of the 18Z, it's almost like the operational run was a little bit of an outliner in regards to the storm, but a pretty strong signal for a few inches of snow, even for the bigger cities. But we'll watch this. This could trend. This can trend more significant overnight or less significant. Now, what I'm going to show you here is the European, as far as what you're looking here is basically where you see these colors right here, the deeper colors, the more bright colors, vibrant colors. That is basically where the jet stream's setting up. You'll see a piece of the southern stream down here and the northern stream right here. Now, it sits at around, 200, 250 up in the air here, and millibars up in the air, which equivalent to feet is something totally different, but we're not going to get deep into this. There's a reason why I'm just showing you just this cut and dry information right here, not to get too deep into it, but kind of show you an easier way to look at this. So just take this as the jet stream, the main jet stream, the main flow of energy. As we get into the weekend, notice how it's riding this ridge right here. There's basically a broad western ridge right here. Pieces of energy are kind of riding across this, and then coming over here, almost a zonal flow, and then dipping southeast. And these are where these clippers are riding. The northern stream energy is kind of riding. That's why with the jet stream that's so far north, all these systems that are providing any sort of precipitation are mainly to the north and Ohio Valley and the northern areas in the mid-Atlantic and the northeast. Is because this piece of this area right here is staying to the north and will continue to do so. And that's why you continue to have pieces of energy. Now, when you get into the latter part of the weekend, this begins to dip more, and then you have some interaction with the southern stream, and you have to watch to see if they somehow connect here as you get a dip here in the stream, moves a little bit more south, which is going to signify more of an amplified storm, and moves through, and that's around where our system is right here. So, and then if you keep going further, it looks like that same flow sets back up again. And yeah, we get right back into the same pattern about 9 or 10 days out. This is the jet stream, and these are where these pieces of energy are riding here. You can look at the vortices right here and kind of see it's a little bit. I like looking at the graphic I just showed a little bit more. But here you go. It's the latest GFS. This is the northern stream energy, the southern stream energy. Notice they do not come together even on the 18Z. It's a robust storm, but it's more northern stream dominated here. I will show you here, these are heights, which do another great job of showing. I like looking at this because it definitely shows us of our troughing and our ridging. And as we're getting into late this week, you get a zonal flow all the way up here. That means nobody's really that cold unless you're in deep, way up in the northeast, where you're basically interacting with troughs and things like that. The flow continues, and here comes that dip right here with the GEFS, the latest ones, which signifies maybe a storm track further south that's could potentially be more amplified here. And then after that, you get into next week, and the pattern goes completely, not necessarily zonal, but you got to watch these. You see these oranges right here? That's the southeast ridge trying to sneak into the southeast. But as far as long term, December, I really, unless the storm materializes, which it can. The thing is with this storm in the northeast, if it materializes, it's almost going to be, how can I word this? It would be taking advantage of a very, very brief time period. I mean, like 2 days, where it's just cold enough for snow in areas. Don't see a ton of snow this time of the year, like New York City and Boston. Normally, when you get in January and February, you start to see, not consistent, but you see snowstorms more consistently. When you're late in November, early December, you're still trying to get into that winter pattern here. But I tell you what, it's going to be like a 1 to 2 day time frame, favorable time frame, where it'll be cold enough if you can get high pressure to cooperate, and just a placement of low pressure, which is usually dictated by placement of high pressure. So going forward, if you're looking at temperatures of the latest GFS, it is a train wreck if you're a big cold weather fan for the southeast and the southern areas, and even the mid-Atlantic. You get into this weekend. This weekend looks beautiful, depending on where you are, especially in the southern states. You're getting into Sunday, you're getting into next Monday, and there's very, very cold air in Canada, but it's not budging. Now you're seeing these Fantasyland cold fronts where the cold air finally lets loose, but we don't really know if that's going to happen or not. Anything after 200 hours, it normally is never consistent. And sometimes even between the 140 to 200 hour time frame, unless you're getting consistency, that's not consistent either, if that makes any sense. So very warm run off the latest GFS, I'll tell you that. But it seems like we've had some crazy runs overnight, and it seems like our daytime runs on the GFS are not as crazy. So we'll continue to monitor this. I'll continue to keep y'all updated, especially you folks in the Northeast. And we'll continue to look for any cold blasts, because we're about to enter December. I know personally, I'd much rather it be cold. It feels like the holidays, even though it's basically like a wholesale miracle to get any kind of snow this far south where I'm at. But I'm always hoping, I'm always praying. The kid in me is always wanting it, so I'm always looking for it. I think it'll happen before I die, so I have faith in that. But that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'll have y'all an update tomorrow, and y'all have a great Tuesday.